Alright, what's up, y'all? This is my visual. You ever seen Disney Pixar's A Bug's Life? And Flick's talking about a rock and he calls it a seed. And Dot's like, it's a rock. And he's like, yeah, but imagine it's a seed. I do that sometimes with visuals of things. I use things that aren't actually what I'm talking about. But my name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. And this is my leash for this video. This is In the Image Clothing Company dogs, 1/4 of our company as a whole. And yeah, I'll talk about what we do a little bit, and then we'll get into talking about the neutral wrist with dog leashes, okay? And how to be intentional to let the hands work when we're walking our dogs, okay? So In the Image Clothing Company, 4 sides to us as a whole, like I said, and there might be wind noise, and I know there's people noise. There's music that was playing. Our whole thing is allowing, keyword, the human body to work. That's where we started, is on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. We do it through clothing. On an earth with gravity, there's a center line, the sternum, the trachea, the spine, the nose, the jaw stabilizes the body. And we personally have to stay centered. And so, clothing company, right? We have another 4th of us, which is In the Image Clothing Company music. I address sizings and setups of guitars to allow the hands to work, because we can't alter the hands that are essentially the shoulders. And guess what? Here's my rock that's supposed to be a seed, but really it's a stick that's supposed to be a dog leash that alters the human hands in a lot of cases. So, yes, right? Yeah, I love this. I love it because there's 4 sides to us now, and when I'm talking about things and relating things to other things, there's so much, and it's all the same thing. We're doing the same thing on all 4 sides of the company, just letting things stay natural. That's the goal under our company. That's the slogan under this 4th, is letting dogs stay natural. So we have another 4th, which is In the Image Clothing Company podcast, where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. That's where our company name comes from. We're designed in the image of God, and we're not religious there and here and me personally, but we just talk about the truth of all this and how it is what it is, because we're all on the same earth. And so let's understand it and ourselves and God who created it on Earth Day. Today's the 22nd of April 2025. So yeah, cool. This is a leash. I'm aware it's a stick, but let's say it's a leash. When we have dogs, and we do, some of us, I personally will have standard poodles that I will be breeding, purebreds. Look out for that when it comes. But a leash, because we hold it and the dog is on the other end. And we talk so often on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company about the neutral wrist. Straight out from the pinky finger, from the forearm, like the neutral toes are straight out from the outside of those curved lower legs, and our hands are rounded. And so when we're holding a dog leash, okay, there we go, the dog leash is going to curve if it's just a rope, whether it's flat, ideally they'll round, right? Like shoelaces, drawstrings, ideally things are rounded, it's natural. Well, the stick here is natural and it's round, right? That's what I say, is tree trunks and sticks, things in nature, when I talk about natural ropes that we use as human beings. So our hands themselves need to have this, I call them hand arches, right? Like within our feet, there's arches. Same thing with our hands, and they correlate with each other. So when we have leashes for our dogs, we need to be able to have the leash actually go like this, the way that our hands are round. And so we need to be as intentional as we can to hold leashes in ways where our pinky finger can stay straight in line with our outside part of the forearm, okay? And so when we're holding a leash, it's actually more natural to hold it like this than it is like, I'll show, but watch my shoulder when I move, like this. If you're just holding a rope and getting pulled, you're pulling your whole body out of its only neutral position. So holding the leash overhand like this, right? You like my leash? It's a stick, but it's supposed to be a leash for the demonstration. But if the dog's pulling here on the end of the leash, now my wrist is still neutral, okay? And so we don't want to pull our bodies out of their only neutral, but for leashes that have a loop on the end, we need to do all that we can to keep this rounding to the hand. So what you can do is, and like I say, it's just because that's the only way the hand will ever work. So you'll take your dog on a walk, and sometimes there's a golden retriever right here. Sometimes it's a pretty uncomfortable experience for you anyway, because if your dog's pulling and maybe you're not so fond of walking personally, maybe the temperature outside or the weather and all things that could go into it. On top of that, if your body's being altered by a leash in any way, then that's a lot to deal with. And you don't want to have to deal with taking your dog on a walk. It should be an enjoyable experience. That's why we have dogs, is because they're our family. Or there are working dogs in ways too, right? So, yeah. Whatever reason it is, you want to enjoy it if you can. Really, we want to do all that we can do to not let it be any kind of cumbersome experience, right? Because it's on that end of things. It's like with the human body, we get rid of the restriction and the body will just work. We let the dogs stay natural and they'll just stay healthy, right? It's on the end of just letting things be what they are. And so we just don't want to go on a walk like this with a dog. Look at my shoulder, my pelvis, my spine twists, my legs, and then the dog's pulling potentially. Yeah, so what we can do is take our hand, and this rounding would be more naturally there if just the middle two fingers, like the opposite of Spider-Man, right? Shout out to Marvel Comics. Like this, gripping the leash here then allows for that hand arch to be there. You see that? And it also allows for your shoulder to work, and then it allows for your body to stay stable. And the thing with dogs is they're pack animals. If you want your dog to listen, you need to be the alpha, as if you're in a pack with a dog, even if it's the only dog in your ownership, so it's just you and the dog only in the pack. You need to be the one with the authority, or the dog's not going to listen to you. And if you can't even physically stand your own ground because you're just not allowing your body to work in its only position because of the leash looping and pulling your fingers out of your wrists only neutral and your only open palm, right? Then what can happen is the dog's not going to listen. The dog will continue to pull if it's been pulling. You're going to get more frustrated as a human being. And then you get back from the walk and now your forearm's all sore. If you've ever been like rock climbing or just climbing things, holding onto something for a while, and you get sore forearm muscles here from just holding in a position that's not quite the only natural, right? That's the whole point. We don't want to come back from a walk with our dog and feel like we have to rehabilitate our bodies. The human body is designed to work. The dog's designed to be able to do all that it's going to do. And so the things that's connecting us two together, right? The owner and the dog, it needs to be able to just let the body be natural. Natural and neutral are synonyms with functionality of physical beings, okay? So, dogs and humans, right? 2/4 of In the Image Clothing Company. Yeah, so there you go. Do all that you can to keep that wrist neutral. If you are just holding on to the rope like this with your whole grip, then do it overhand, okay? Because then as you're pulling, and the dog's like over here, right? You're still at that neutral wrist, straight out from the pinky, and I'm doing this with the other hand as if like the rest of the leash is just in this hand, right? And then, yeah, okay, as I was showing with, you can take these two middle fingers and put them through. You'll actually have more strength this way with two less fingers being used than if you were to have all four fingers being used in a position they just don't work in. That's really the truth. That's the case. That's how the body works, because it's about neutrals and it's about mechanics and hinges and levers. It's not about quote unquote strength in the ways that we think about strength, like workouts and stuff. No, that's just not going to help you. So workouts aren't ever. So, okay. Okay, check out the main site of In The Image Clothing Company if you got a question on what I mean by that. It has to come with context, and we give it, and we have. So anyway, allowing the human body to work, right? So In The Image Clothing Company, dog products, leashes, collars, things that we will have available for dogs, as well as In The Image Clothing Company clothing, natural is the goal under all 4 sides of the company. And yeah, staying centered, fitting correct, made out of 100% natural materials. That's how we allow the body to work. And that's how dog accessories will be as well. And in the case of leashes, it's, you know, fitting correct for the sake of the human hand, not only just all the things that are going to be beneficial that we'll put into our designs for the dog itself. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, a lot of people don't really know what's happening when they go on a walk with the dog, and why they personally, as the owner of the dog, are so upset, and why they get back and feel like they did some kind of like crazy labor-intensive thing when it shouldn't really be much different at all than just walking. If your dog's not pulling, let's say, because you're just holding a leash that ideally is pretty light, so it's not pulling on the dog's neck, and you're not having to hold it up, excessive weight, right? That's not needed. So it's reasons like this though. And so that's why it's really good to just know how your own body works, to know how dogs would be unless altered. And that's why we have In The Image Clothing Company. So thank you for stopping by. Seriously. Yeah, it's thank you for the stick. Seriously. Yeah, it's the 2nd of times 10, actually. It's the 22nd of April 2025, Earth Day. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company and dog leashes. I actually made a video on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company about it, but I also just made this one because we didn't have this 4th of the company yet, and this side's going to be huge. All 4 sides. I mean, it's like I said, we do the same thing on all 4 sides of the company. So when I say the phrase that I've said for months, In The Image Clothing Company is going to be huge, we just discuss things that will never change, right? And so that's why. So anyway, thank you. Yeah, stick around. Standard Poodles, purebred, bred by me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. And we'll just have so many things like this that we talk about as time goes on, as I deepen my understandings, as has happened for the other sides of the company. Dogs, man. I mean, they're family, and there's one yapping right now, and there's one right there. There was a dog right here. I've seen a couple other go by on this trail as I've been speaking. It's huge. It's gonna be so great to have this. It's very fulfilling what we do here. It's wonderful. Stuff that never changes too, because we didn't design it, so we can't decide it. The human body, the dogs, nature, Earth Day, right? So we just understand how things are here, and we give information so others can as well. Yeah, leashes. Yeah, sometimes leashes just have like formed things that naturally are more shaped, curved, like the hands are, and that's good. But yeah, just all that you can do to keep that neutral wrist. Look out for that pinky. But the other thing is, check out the main site of In The Image Clothing Company, because the only way to allow your body to be in its only neutrals while we wear clothing is by being intentional about the clothing. Otherwise, it's very, very much altering our bodies. And yeah, that's why we're here, is to give truth to the whole world, right? Cool. All right, thank you. Earth Day, man. God designed it, not us. So, leashes. I keep looking at that stick. It's a rock. No, it's a seed. Imagine it. Imagine it as a dog leash, dude. So, yeah. Dog leashes. Don't alter your hands with them. The neutral wrist. Thank you.